Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Markets shift overnight. Technology rewrites industries. Leadership decides who survives and who scales. Real stories, real people, real business. Welcome to the Business Show on USA Global TV and Radio, reaching audiences in more than 60 countries and home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. This is not theory. This is not recycled commentary. This is business in motion. Founders, CEOs, investors, strategists, operators, the people building companies, moving capital, driving innovation. We go beyond headlines into decisions, beyond noise into strategy, beyond trends into execution, growth, disruption, artificial intelligence, global markets, leadership under pressure. Hosted by Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK and Cini, the Business Show delivers direct, unfiltered conversations with the leaders shaping the future of enterprise. If you're launching, scaling, investing, or redefining your next move, this is your front row seat. No spin, no scripts, no surface talk. Real stories, real people, real business. This is clarity in motion. This is momentum. This is the Business Show on USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Original music score Yeffy Tang. Videography and production Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form are strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and today's show is The Business Show. My co-host is joining us today, and we've got a super guest who will be with us as well. And our topic is artificial intelligence. Many of you are business owners out there, and you're wondering, how is AI impacting your business? How's it going to impact your business? Do you really need to incorporate, embrace AI? We're going to find out today. So the co-host and my dear friend and longtime mentor, we've actually been working together, Cini, for 7 years on television, believe it or not. His name is Cini, and he is an expert when it comes to all things related to project management and technology. He is the founder of ProFit for Teams, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And he has been aligned with the major networks across the world, and we'll talk about that as well. They begin with 3 letters or 4 letters. You can figure them out. Okay, welcome to the program, Cini. How are you?
You know, I'm just fine. Good morning, Dr. Jacalyn. And this is an exciting topic, artificial intelligence. I mean, we picked something that everybody, well, only a few people really are talking about it. It hardly ever ends up in the news. Kidding. It's a gigantic topic, and it's a present, definitely present right here and now topic. It's not a future topic anymore. So now is the time to begin talking about how you can make it work for your business. So I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. We're going to dive into it. We are waiting for our guest, so we're hoping that he's going to join us very shortly. I did hear from him last night, and he said he was looking forward to it. So, Al, we have been together for 7 years broadcasting. Can you believe that?
7 years. 7 years in anything sounds like a long time, but it's gone so quickly. And there was a little bit of a break there while I was doing some work for one of those three-letter acronym companies that you mentioned. But
Yes.
now I'm back, and it's great to be back. So thanks as always for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. And Al, I'd like us to focus just a little bit when we think about the media industry. So when we started together 7 years ago versus today, there have been a lot of changes. And I believe that AI is probably at the core of this, but it's also about consumer preferences, customer choices. So for example, the network cable television that we've known for so long is going by the wayside in some ways. I know I don't have any cable service. I just have streaming service. And so we've seen a lot of changes. So what is your thought process about the last 7 years when it comes to television and media and some of those changes, especially how they can impact our audience of business owners?
There are so many aspects of the media business that you touched on in just 30 seconds that are worth talking about. The first is, what is it that actually fixes an audience to a stream, whether it's broadcast over the air or delivered over the internet? And it still is, in fact, personality. So people bond with the people they know. They tend to want to follow the people they know. And the real value in any network are the stable of what they call talent, especially in the news business, people that the people at home, the people who consume the content have grown to trust and believe in. And that's still true. That's still an important part of audience reactions, audience dynamics in the media business. Now, but what you touched on though is the way it's delivered. It's used to be that you watched the news at 6. That was the local news, and then there was national news at 6:30, and then there was some more news at 7. Now, that used to be the way it worked, and it doesn't work that way anymore. I mean, a big part of the changes in the last 7 years, and especially as it relates to the news business, is that it's just ubiquitous and it's available any time of day. It's an experience you lean into rather than lean back and watch. And that is a huge change in all the networks. Every media company has had to adapt to a world where people go and get what they want when they want it, rather than wait around until it's delivered to them. And that's a huge change in the dynamics of the distribution of content. And of course, technologies sits underneath all that. The way you deliver content now that it's done over the internet rather than over the air has totally changed, and it's changed the way we work with media. And I think these are all. I mean, what we're really talking about today in artificial intelligence are change. And yeah, internet streaming has definitely eliminated to a large extent the transmitter, the way people used to get their content, although that still exists. Kind of like the way the airplane eliminated the railroad and the railroad eliminated the covered wagon. I mean, things happen, change happens at every point in the history of any business. The question is this the end of the world or is this the beginning of the world? And in every one of those cases, and in this case, especially with AI, I think we're talking about the beginning of a new era and not the end of civilization. Even though a lot of people always like to kind of groove on the idea of predicting Armageddon, we haven't had one yet, and nobody wants one, and we're probably not going to get one this time. So, but it does change the way we think, and that's what makes this such an important subject.
Thank you, Al. I really appreciate that. Our guest today, David Nicholson, although not here yet, is a professor at the Wharton School of Business. And I happen to be enrolled and taking the Chief Strategy Officer program. And David spoke to us a couple of weeks ago about artificial intelligence. And I want to bring up something that he mentioned so that you and I can get into it. He had a slide that basically referenced back in the day when people were not embracing email. So it was before we had email, and people had all the reasons in the world why they weren't going to use email. And they never really thought that it was going to play a big role. And so my understanding of his presentation in this area was the fact that there's similarity with artificial intelligence in that some people are thinking, oh, we see Amazon using robots to deliver, and we see drones that are delivering, but is it really going to impact my business? And then we see all kinds of information about the fact that everyone's job's going to be wiped out. There are going to be very few jobs left because they're all being replaced by robots. So I'd like to have you talk to our audience about that similarity between embracing and adopting email way back when to today and embracing and adopting artificial intelligence.
Do you remember? I don't know if you ever had an AOL account. I still have
still
one.
have one?
I do. I'm still like, I mean, it's free, so I still have an account. It's still on my Outlook. I don't check it very often. But I remember you got mail was kind of an exciting, oh my God, I have email. And, but now the big deal is there's actually a letter in your mailbox, a physical letter. So what amazes us these days is what we used to consider routine when it happens, that old fashioned, old school way of doing things is still real and it's still present, but email replaced it, just like the covered wagon, the airplane, the train. I mean, all those things. Technology changes the world we live in. It's the nature of it. But human beings don't really change. And that, to me, is probably the most important point to make. I don't know if you've ever gotten, when you woke up in the morning, a little dialogue box in your brain that said, there's a new version of Brain available. Would you like to download it? Have you ever gotten that, Dr. Jacalyn? Have you ever? we're first of all, I think I decline, especially at my age. But second of all, there is we're still running Brain version 1. We've been running that version of Brain now for a couple 100,000 years. So all this technology changes around the one version of Brain that's available to us. The only thing that really upgrades our brains are new experiences and new learning on new subjects that are novel and that change things around us. So to me, artificial intelligence, just like any technology, is an opportunity to learn something new and use it to enhance the impact that I have or that anybody has on the world that we live in. And I've found it to be very useful from that point of view. And I don't see it. There will definitely be jobs that change and maybe even go away as a result of AI and robotics. There are an awful lot of routine day-to-day bread and butter jobs that will evolve as a result of AI in the world. But there are going to be opportunities that emerge from all this for people that can elevate their skills above that. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how you're coming into that subject. I think AI is an open field that will itself evolve over time. And I think will promote our own individual and collective evolution as it moves along. So I see it as a great opportunity, and I use it, and I found it to be very helpful. But there's some tricks to using it effectively, and there's some things to avoid that I think are worth talking about. And I know you use it too, don't you?
I do. And my favorite part of you using AI was when you and I were together for a meeting and you asked it about me and USA Global TV. And it came back with
Yeah.
I was like, yay, thank you.
Yeah. You're getting your message is getting through. I mean, what does AI know? Any AI platform knows what it knows, and it knows what it knows through Twitter, X, or the web. It knows that's how, and also what we tell it. The more we talk about it, the more it learns. It doesn't necessarily share what we say with anybody else. I mean, I keep asking, oh, by the way, the platform I use, and it's probably worth talking about that. I use Copilot, which is they'll never say it, but it's Microsoft's version of ChatGPT, and there are a lot of similarities in those two platforms. I think they have a common ancestor. I use Copilot because I develop on the Microsoft platform software that I use in my business. And Copilot is a Microsoft product, so it knows the Microsoft software ecosphere and all the products, the third-party products that it touches. So if I have a question about whether a particular path or approach is a good idea or not, I can ask Copilot, and Copilot will do all the Googling it needs to do to answer my question. It's very helpful for that. Now, some people say you can use it to write code. I can't. The kind of code I write is more involved than that. It's more custom than that. And even Copilot will tell me, sorry, I can't do that for you. It's too custom. It's too involved. But for routine things, sure, AI can write an app, AI can write an email. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean we wanted to do all those things, but it certainly is available to do a lot of the drudgery communication, regular routine things that um, I hate to say white collar, but people in our lines of work tend to do every day. And as a result of that, it definitely does lighten the burden of doing the kinds of work we do. So, I'm thrilled with it. I don't see it ever calling me and telling me what to do. Every interaction I've ever had with AI has always been me calling it and saying, this is what I need, and having it come along with that. I guess someday I need to worry about my phone blowing up with messages from Copilot wanting to know why I haven't done the list of things it told me to do yesterday. Maybe that would be a good thing in my case. I have a partner in my Profit for Teams business who would probably pay Copilot to nag me to get done some of the things I need to get done. That's a nod to Lisa, who may be tuning in. Lisa Manioki is my partner in Profit for Teams. But right now, no, I call Copilot when I need Copilot, and I'm very comfortable with that relationship. And it knows about you through what I've told it about you. I'm going to keep saying it. I call it Bob, and it appreciates the fact that I call it Bob, and it thanks me for that. But I know it's a machine. I'm totally mindful and aware of that. And I think if you're a business owner and you're ignoring this change in the way the world works, I think you're at risk. I think it's people ultimately that use it. And another aspect of my business, the Profit for Teams business, is preparing teams to adopt novel technology like artificial intelligence. And I think there are steps you can take as a business owner to prepare your people to use artificial intelligence maybe more effectively or in a way that is better supportive of your company's mission than just as like a super Google. And I think a lot of companies, a lot of business owners need to get behind the idea that they need to condition artificial intelligence and onboard it the way they would onboard an employee. And one of the things we do with Profit for Teams is offer guidance in that area. And I think that's important. Your people need to know what they're using it for. I mean, if it's to get recipes for fettuccine Alfredo, which I've used it for, it's always there for that. But if it's to build the things that need to be built to make the company you work for successful, you need to preload it for that so that it knows that's what you're trying to accomplish with it. And if you do that, you get great results.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that you're using Copilot. I'm using ChatGPT, and I think there are other options out there for people. And to your point that you
A
just made,
bunch.
yeah, I think as business owners, we need to know what our options are and how we can benefit from using these platforms. So just like I mentioned way back, what seems to be the dark ages when people were not using email, and now imagine a world without email. I actually know two people who do not use email, believe it or not. They do not own computers. And we've heard things about A-list celebrities in Hollywood who don't even have a phone. It's one of those flip phone devices. So for the majority of us, AI is here and it's important. It's going to continue to evolve. And so what I like to just share about ChatGPT is, in my experience, not only as a business owner, but also as an author, is that ChatGPT is really good for some things and really not so good for other things. And you touched on this a little bit, Al. So what I found is that when someone sends me an email, I know if they've used ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. You can just tell because there's certain words that AI uses. One of them is lens, through the lens of whatever. And then they also use these really long dashes instead of short dashes. And I think it's basically, for me, and I'll just put this out there, as a single woman living alone, sometimes it plays the role of therapist for me. So I don't have to actually go and pay anyone, but I'll run things by it and ask it what it thinks. And so there are benefits, but there are absolutely limitations. And there are things that it absolutely gets wrong. Not only just the things that it can't do, but it gets things wrong. And I'll set it up, like I'll ask it a question and I already know the answer. And it comes back and I'm like, no, wrong. You didn't do any research. Or I will frequently ask it to come up with a title for one of our TV shows, and it will come up with something. I'm like, where did this come from? This has nothing to do with what I asked you to do. And then it'll put, well, let's not focus on it. And sometimes, no offense, Al, it reminds me of a defensive male. You ask a guy a question, and instead of addressing it, he'll say, well, let's not talk about that now. Let's just move on, right? Guys do that. I'm sure women do it too. So I think for people,
As a matter of fact, I've done that myself personally now and then, and so I can relate, and I'm not offended at all. And I appreciate that observation. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
you're so welcome.
There is a pretty well-known reel rattling around on social media, the video on social media, where a human asks ChatGPT how many E's there are in the word committee. And it's humorous because ChatGPT gets it wrong over and over again. I mean, it says 3 E's. And the human argues and says, but how many M's are there in a committee? And then it'll say, it comes back and says, oh, I know, it's a tricky question. And sometimes you think it's 2 because you see them side by side, but there are 3 M's in committee, in the word committee. I mean, it gets it wrong over and over again. It actually argues. It argues with the user that it's correct, and it does it gently. It says things like, I know you can be confused, and I know sometimes these things are confusing. It's trying to be polite, but it's wrong. And I watch that, and I've had it happen to me a couple of times with a couple of conversations with Bob, co-pilot. And I read an article in a magazine once. This is where I think we really go off the rails with it. I read an article in a technical magazine once that was an article on a subject that was, let's say, very technical, so you don't need to know what the subject is. But the important thing to remember is that the last paragraph of it was verbatim what an AI will say at the end of every answer it gives you, which is, would you like me to consider this? Would you like me to look into this? Would you like me to add this? I mean, ChatGPT is always trying to keep you talking, because the longer you're in it, the more successful it is. Kind of like Google. I mean, that's one of the things that I think scared Google when AI first emerged 2 years ago. I mean, people are going to go to ChatGPT and they're never going to go back to Google. In a way, you use it like a super Google. But whoever was researching the article they were writing asked ChatGPT or a Copilot or one of those AIs about that subject, and they verbatim copied and pasted the AI result into the article, into the magazine. And because the whole role of the editor is largely dead, especially in smaller publications, nobody caught it. It just ended up in the magazine. And at the end of it, you could see it's ChatGPT asking, what would you like me to look into now? What would you like me to consider next? Right there in the article. They didn't even bother to cut that out, which is amazing to me, which scares me. I mean, what scares me is that a lot of what we do is mediocre. And I use the word we, meaning not you or me, obviously, but the world. A lot of what we do is mediocre, and artificial intelligence is a wonderful mediocrity machine. It's great at mediocre. It does mediocre really well. And if that's your day to day, well, no wonder you lost your job.
That's such a good point, Al. And it reminds me of this lecture that I also had the opportunity to attend for the Wharton School of Business. It was recently. One of the professors was talking about this study that was done by the Boston Consulting Group about how AI is being used in business. And again, this is my interpretation, which is why I'm not saying the professor's name in case I got it wrong. But my interpretation of it, looking at the slides and the graphics, was many of the frontline jobs in businesses are asked to use artificial intelligence in some way. And as a result of this, these people on the front line of the business now have more time at their discretion to do something else. However, they haven't been told in general, based on the study, what it is they're supposed to do with their time. So essentially, they are becoming ineffective at their job because they're using AI as requested to do something that they were doing, and now they have extra time and they're not doing anything with it. And the other takeaway from this presentation was that in leadership positions, leaders are being asked to understand artificial intelligence and use it in some ways. But in 90% of the cases, leaders are deciding to work one-on-one with humans as opposed to offload it to artificial intelligence, because there's still that need for the human dynamic and that human connection. What are your thoughts about what I just shared, Al?
I think you raise a really, really important point, that getting things done is still a human function. It's not an AI function. I mean, and one of the big fears I think people have is that AI at some point will just take over society, start making very important decisions, major decisions, like launching missiles, for example, or declaring war on countries. I mean, we worry a lot about what we see in the popular media, like the Terminator, that someday robots will take over. We worry about that. But your point really is the more important and more immediate point. Are humans ready for this? And if I'm managing somebody, and I get the privilege and the opportunity to do that from time to time on some pretty big projects, I want to know that my people are making the decisions that need to be made to move us collectively forward on this project that we're working on together. I want to know that humans are providing the propulsion and the overall guidance and the energy. I want to know that. And if, as we move along, they tell me they're using an AI to save time or to improve quality, I'm thrilled to hear that, because I think if it helps them do their job better, and that's how they're using it, they're the master and AI is the slave. I'm encouraged by that, and I want to really, really encourage people who run businesses. If you think about that in terms of onboarding an assistant for the people who work for you, as an AI platform of one kind or another, then I think you're in better shape than if you think of AI as something that's going to run your business for you. And another point I want to make is that the people that are probably most at risk in AI, I hate to say this, but an awful lot of upper management that I've worked with, I mean, I've always felt they could be replaced with a wind-up monkey that claps cymbals, wears a little hat. I've often thought that. Well, yeah, that was never true, and that was a joke. Now we've got AI, and AI can, at the supervisory level, with a global view of what we're all doing, actually provide pretty good guidance to all of us on who is doing what where. Real-time feedback on how a particular project is progressing. And I think, but that's people. It's the work that the people are doing. And I think you really have to prep your people for this. You got to know that this is coming. And, I see it as a terrific benefit and a huge opportunity. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. And it's popular, I think, to get, especially in the media, and talk about how this is a world-ending technology. But I just don't agree. I found it nothing but helpful.
I agree with you, Al. Thanks for sharing your perspective. I feel like for business owners out there who are not familiar with AI and maybe they're against it, it could be coming from a place of fear, right? What we don't know, what we don't understand, we're afraid of. And so by educating ourselves, maybe taking a course, a seminar to find out about artificial intelligence and how we can incorporate it into our business, I think is step one. I mean, understand what it is and what it can do for you. And then, as I mentioned, based on my interpretation of these two different presentations at Wharton, is if leaders are actually very interested in the human dynamic and having these conversations with humans, depending on where you are in the organization, I would think your position's not going to be eliminated. But if you are on the front line of the business, how can you differentiate yourself so that your job's not eliminated? So if you don't understand artificial intelligence and you're now asked to use it and it's taking over some of the things that you're doing and you now have free time, how can you use that free time to set yourself apart from everyone else? What contributions can you make in the organization so that your leader says, wow, look at Al, look what he's doing. We eliminated part of his job and he's found a way to be productive. So that might anger some people. But at the same time, and I really believe this, Al, as humans, we have this curiosity. Not all of us, but a lot of us, we have this curiosity. What's next? Well, what can I do? Well, how can I give value? And so use that curiosity to build your knowledge about AI and how can you make it work for you instead of being left in the dark. Thoughts?
So let me feed that back to you. I mean, your step one is get to know it. Don't be afraid of it and go past the headlines. Don't just think that because you watched an article, a story on CNN or ABC or NBC, just because you watched a story about AI doesn't mean you really understand it. So that brings us to step two. Getting an AI account is instantaneous, immediate, and generally runs $20 a month. There's no commitment beyond 1 month. You can stop at any time. Get a hold of an AI platform and start communicating with it. Start asking it questions. Some of the AI platforms, many of them now have microphones you can click on where you can actually verbalize. The LLM AIs are terrific at understanding what you're saying and what you're typing. They're way better than voice recognition ever was. So you can actually have an adult conversation with a machine and not realize it's a machine. You can be sucked into the idea that you're talking with somebody who actually cares. And the cool thing about AI, as you mentioned before, is that it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's always excited to hear from you, no matter when you reach out to it, which means you could use it anytime. Maybe that's a little bit of a trap too, but get to know it by actually logging into an AI and getting and using it. And spend maybe a couple of weeks doing that, and then tell the AI what it is you're trying to accomplish in your business. Explain to your AI platform, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT or any. I mean, there are half a dozen Grok or I'm trying to think. I mean, there's some pick one and ask it what are the AI platforms. They'll even tell you about their competitors and how they're different. And get to know them and get to know them well enough to converse with them, and then start talking about what it is in your business that you're trying to accomplish. Talk about the problems you're having. Explain the production problems you're having if you're having them. Explain the sales and marketing problems you're having. You will get back information from an AI that may be better than information you could ever get from any consultant. Speaking as a consultant, I realize that's an embarrassing admission. But you can get back really great information from an AI that actually is often very much on point, that will move you in different directions and actually make you more successful. And it's $20 a month. It's free for all practical purposes. It's definitely worth doing. And then after that, see about how you can maybe weave the whole process of AI into your business, but take charge of the process. Don't onboard it the way you normally onboard an employee. Don't just give it a cubicle and a telephone. Teach it who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Have it learn from you what it is the difference you're trying to make in the world with your company or in your life. And then ask it to help. And if you do that, I think you get great guidance from. I mean, every now and then, but make sure you read what it says. And don't just do it because it said it, because sometimes it's wrong. But it's always something you don't expect. And that's the unexpected information that you get back from artificial intelligence is what triggers you to become more curious and more successful, which is what you want. So
Absolutely.
don't hide from it. Get out there and use it.
And Al, my understanding is there are
And I'm sure
different
if David were here, he'd be offering the same advice.
Yes, and what I learned from David is there
I'm
are
sorry,
different types of
Mhm.
artificial intelligence, and I'm not an expert on that. But where I want to really take our audience is if you think back to when we didn't have email, okay, maybe there were early adopters and this was seen as a major innovation, but at some point everyone caught up who wanted to catch up, right?
Mhm.
Everyone said, okay, I have got to embrace email. Now, imagine today, if you're a business owner and you're conducting a business meeting with someone and you ask for their email to exchange information, like, oh, we don't use email. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I mean, you're putting up a red flag that, okay, why are you not embracing email? So it may come
Think
back to
about
the
that.
same thing. Yeah, it may come back to at some point while we have the innovation, if it's even still that, if it's considered that as an innovation of AI, and people are onboarding the AI in some way or another, and you are not, you will get left behind. And at some point, people will say, well, That's just part of what we're doing, which brings me to our next topic. And this was also brought up during the Chief Strategy Officer program at Wharton, is that apparently there were one or two individuals who have taken the program and they're using AI completely to run their business. So you have the business owner and then you have these bots, and the bots are actually running different aspects of the business like marketing, sales, etc. And then my understanding is this business owner specifically actually holds team meetings with these bots. So now I'm going over to you, Cini. When we think about teams and incorporating AI to help make teams the most effective they can, you're an expert when it comes with your ProFit for Teams. So where do you see AI playing an important, valid role with teams?
People who are already using artificial intelligence will be a little bit ahead of the game as I described this. But for people who've maybe never used it or haven't used it seriously yet, artificial intelligence platforms learn from you through what are called prompts, where a prompt is a paragraph or more than one paragraph, where you explain to the artificial intelligence bot what it is you're trying to accomplish or what it is you're trying to get done. And gradually over time, through these prompts, AI learns about you and what your intentions are and what you imagine the future to be like. And it starts to learn how it might be able to help you achieve that. And so for me anyway, with ProFit for Teams, what we have with ProFit for Teams is a process that asks a group of people to imagine who they are when they're doing their best work on their best day. So everything we do in developing teams starts with a visualization exercise. Imagine this whole team as though we're a single person doing its best work on its best day. And what comes back from that in our system is auto-generated guidance. What is it that you do? What is it you avoid doing when you're doing your best work on your best day? The goal really is to try to create the 10 commandments of success for a given team that's very team specific. And we don't do it by giving the commandments to you. We do it by getting the commandments out of the people who already work for you, because they already really have that guidance within them, if that makes sense. So what we get out of that are 10, I'm going to use the word commandment, but you can cross out commandment and write in prompt. What you get out of that are the 10 prompts that you can give to an artificial intelligence platform to teach that platform how to be a member of your team. What is it we do around here when we're doing our best work on our best day? What does it mean for us as a team when we're working collectively to make the difference that we were put here to make? And so for me anyway, it's a huge opportunity. And I'm not saying by any means that AI is a human. It isn't. But AI is an agent that works in support of humans. And the more it can learn about what those humans are trying to accomplish, the better equipped it is to support them in that. And so for me, I kind of came to this realization as we were making changes in our program over the last year, that there really is no difference between the people on a team and an AI that supports the people on the team. They all live by the same basic standards that help that team accomplish its mission, whatever they might be. So bringing AI into the team as though it were a person, I think is a big part of the contribution we make with ProFit for Teams. I don't know if that makes sense, and it's kind of radical, but you got to think about AI. I mean, not as somebody you'd hire or fire, but something that you can use that has. And a long time ago in technology, Alan Turing, there was a movie made called The Imitation Game, where they talked about Alan Turing's work in cryptography during World War II, that you may have seen that film. He used to imagine this thing called the imitation game. Someday, we'll live in a world where we can have a conversation with a machine or a human, and we'll be working with the results of those two conversations to try to decide which is the machine and which is the human. We now have achieved that. It is very hard to tell the difference between talking with an AI and talking with a human. It's very hard now to tell the difference whether the thing on the other end of the conversation is living or dead. You know what? I don't know whether it's a machine or a human. So that he used to call that the imitation game. And the way you win the imitation game is by taking advantage of exactly that, not seeing it as a first step in Armageddon, but seeing it as a next step in building a better future. And I really think that's what it represents.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And what that's leading me to close out our show with is this. We know that AI can process things so quickly. It's incredible. You wonder how it can, at least when I'm asking questions and I might have like a paragraph of information, I don't even know how I got through the paragraph before it starts to come back with something. But we also know that whether or not we use that information is going to take judgment as a leader. So our leadership skills now are going to include how much of AI are we going to implement? How much of what it tells us to do we believe is correct? So we still have ownership of that. And I think to your point when we first began the show, that for people who are using AI and they're just responding with a copy and paste, you're missing the whole point of it. Even though it did the task for you and it got the information, you have the opportunity to review the information and see if it's in alignment with what you know to be true or what you believe is going to be representative of you. When you just copy and paste it, like to your point, Al, writing an article and then having the chat GPT at the end, what do you think people reading that are going to think? That you didn't take any time to review what chat GPT gave you. So it's almost like it makes things faster because we have access to information quicker, but we have as leaders the ability to judge that information and determine what we're going to do with it.
It's such a great point. And just the closing advice: if you don't have an AI account, get Claude, get ChatGPT, Copilot, Grok. Open up an account, invest the $20 for a month, and get to know the technology. It's well worth it.
Thank you, Al. What's the best way for people to reach you, and who's a good client for you?
I'd love to work with HR directors who are focused on talent development, or with project leaders that are looking for a way to reboot a project they might be working on, or business owners that are looking to pull their team together around a result they're trying to achieve. That is what we do with pro-fitforteams.com. So I invite people to visit us on our website or email me at al@pro-fitforteams.com. And let's start a conversation.
Thank you so much, Alan. For our friends who are listening later after this streams live on a podcast platform, Al, can you let people know how to reach you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm available on LinkedIn. Al, my LinkedIn profile is up there, I guess. I'm in Al Cini on LinkedIn. I hope the people watching the program will connect with me on LinkedIn if they haven't already. And I'd love to get to know you, know more about you, and know more about your people and how your people work together.
Thank you so much, Al. And we're sorry that our guest wasn't able to make it. Apparently, it was a time change difference. So we will look forward to bringing him back, Mr. David Nicholson, in the future, or bringing him on in the future. Al, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for the last 7 years. I'm excited to see where we go from here.
Thanks for this great opportunity, Dr. Jacalyn.
Bye for now. Thank you, everyone, for watching and for being here today. I hope that you took some information away that will help you in your business. We are here for educational purposes. And so if you haven't embraced artificial intelligence, think about taking a course, maybe go to YouTube and watch some videos. But by being afraid of it, you are only putting yourself on the back foot. So if you make a phone call to a company and it's answered by some type of automated system, that could be AI, Siri, AI, Alexa, AI. AI really is everywhere. And so in some ways, my point of this whole show is it makes things much more accessible. It gives us the information much quicker, but we as humans have to decide how will we use that information, or maybe we won't use it at all. But by being unaware of the types of AI, by being unaware of how AI can impact your business, you could be getting left behind because your competitors could be using this as an innovation tool to take their business to the next level. So thank you again for being here. We'll look forward to seeing you for our next episode. If you're new to USA Global TV and Radio, we are in over 60 countries, as the video has in there. And we are also on many platforms. I would like for you to subscribe to our channels on behalf of myself and our team. You can go over to YouTube, where we have 2 channels, USA Global TV and Radio, where we've earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers, and also Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. You can also watch us on Amazon Fire. You can download our app, USA Global TV. You can watch us on social media, and this program will also be distributed onto LG, Samsung, and Roku. So thanks again for being here. I really do appreciate it. We're going to go over to one of our sponsors, and then we'll be back with our next show. Remember, AI can be your friend. Just learn about it and learn how you can use it, and learn what the boundaries are. Setting boundaries is something that we as humans get to do, and it makes a lot of sense. Bye for now.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful: The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives, by Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.